Hey guys, it's Andrew Esquivel here back with another review, and today I'm finally getting around to reviewing my new mattress. Now those of you who have seen me gas on about how I absolutely hate Sleep Number will know that I have been working on getting a new mattress and that I promised that I was going to review it. And here I am today about to do just that. Now, one of the things that I stated, and clearly for the record, and I stand by this, is that if you want a good mattress, and let me clarify once again, by good, I mean something with premium materials, something that generally costs around $6,000 to $10,000. And, you know, people say, oh, well, I can get a good mattress for this or that. My definition of good is on a particular scale. There's good, decent, and bad. Good ranges at the top end of this, so when I say good, the expectations of said mattress should be very high. But for a minute, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about beds in general and why this price range is what it is, because people don't seem to understand why I think a good mattress should be that expensive. There's actually a very simple explanation for it. And after I'm done explaining that, I'm going to actually go into this bed specifically. So if you don't want to hear said explanation, which I really wish you would just listen to it, skip to the part where I get to the bed. So why does a good mattress cost so much? Let's look at premium brands, starting with the most expensive brand that I could possibly think of, which is, and I don't know how to pronounce it properly because this brand originates from a different country. It's called Hastings. Now Hastings, their flagship mattress is called the Vividus, and it ranges from a retail price above $60,000 to sometimes higher. So, you know, $60,000, what do you get for that? You get a lot of horsehair, which is a pretty premium material. I've talked to people who have had horsehair products last over 100 years. So it's, you know, it's a good quality material. And, you know, I'm not going to go over and quote all the materials, but just know that, yeah, they are some pretty ballin' materials. Things that, you know, in theory should last a long time and feel absolutely incredible. But even then, $60,000, you can't justify that price for the materials. So then what do you look at? Okay, let's look at craftsmanship. What went into making this mattress? Now, all these high-end mattress companies will say they're all handmade. What they mean by that could be a broad range of things, but in this case, let's look at how many man-hours it took to make it. This particular mattress takes over 140 man-hours to make. That's a pretty long time compared to the standard mattress, which takes only a few hours to make. It can be made in less than a day, obviously. Standard 8-hour work shift. They could probably get a few of them off the assembly line. The Vividus only sells about 100 of those a year, I believe, compared to something from like Sealy. They're selling thousands a day. So there's an obvious difference there, one of them being the huge price tag. Still, it doesn't seem like it justifies the price where you can get a small house for. So then you look at other things like, okay, well, if I'm paying that price, what am I getting warranty-wise? There's a 25-year warranty. Okay, yeah, that's great and all, but the warranty means nothing if it doesn't feel good. So then I looked up reviews. And oddly, there's a lot of people who aren't satisfied with the mattress. And I think there's a reason for it. It's a psychological reason playing in their head thinking, holy crap, I just spent a crap ton of money on this mattress. So you have these ultra high expectations and it plays with your head because suddenly, ooh, now it doesn't feel as good as in the store. You know, Hastings, you can't just go to any store and find them. They have their own stores. They're very few and far between. They do exist. You got to schedule an appointment to have it, and you can try out the bed in a trial that you got to schedule and whatnot. Okay, so you got that, and it's like, something doesn't seem right. So let's move to a different brand. Let's look at Cluft. More well known. I believe at one point the Queen of England got a Clough mattress. And their flagship is, I believe, the Palace Royale. You can find the Palace Royale for about $20,000 on sale. Ooh, you know how mattress companies like to play the on sale game. General so-called retail price is closer to $30,000, maybe a little higher up. So let's look at that mattress. Yeah, it's got horsehair. It's, I believe, got latex. It has polyfoam, cotton. You know, a bunch of things like that. Now I can't list off. The thing about all these mattresses is you can't list off the materials in order, how much of said materials are too specific, because none of these companies tell you for some reason. And it irks me, because now you can't make a truly detailed comparison. Hastings tells you and it shows you, but it doesn't tell you how much in inches. So it's like, it's kind of hard to tell. So you get into that and you still look at it and you're like, something is askew. Yeah, it's once again handmade, a lot of man hours go into it. Yeah, they're using premium materials, but it just doesn't justify the price. So let's go another step down. Let's look at Heirloom, which is like a subsection of Clough. It's more like aimed toward mid-range, which is around the price range is what I'm talking about, is this area. I was looking at the Heirloom Vertigenic, which falls under the Hotel Collection that's sold exclusively at Macy's. Ooh, once again, Hotel Collection isn't an official name, it's just what Macy's decided to name it for their brand. And those were ranging around $6,000 retail. Of course, they have their special sales that bring it down to $4,000, but I'm going off this retail pricing here. So retail pricing is around $6,000 for this particular one, and I personally tried out this mattress and I did think it was pretty awesome. But I sat there and I did some research and found out it really wasn't all that great material-wise. I found out there's a lot of polyfoam in there in comparison to the latex. The materials are not something to particularly jaw drop at. And it does have, you know, a 10-year non-prorated, and then there's a prorated warranty, whatnot. Still, there's something iffy about it. Why am I paying that price for a mattress that contains materials that don't justify that price range? So let's go another step lower. Let's look at Stearns & Foster. Their flagship mattress is the Golden Elegance. So I start looking at that. That's about $4,000 for a queen size. By the way, these are all queen size prices. All queen size. Including a box spring to go with it. All before sales tax. Keep that in mind as well. So I'm looking at that, and for $4,000 what you get is actually not too bad. You get a cashmere and silk blend quilted cover. You get 3 inches of latex, you get some horsehair, you get like 3 inches of polyfoam too, and you get this IntelliCoil thing, which is this coil-in-coil system, which is kind of more like a gimmick from what I hear. So you look at it, and for $4,000, that's not bad. That's probably closest to the price to quality of materials as you're going to get. But I look at it, and one of the things that really pisses me off about that is there is absolutely no stores in Illinois that I can find within a 100-mile radius of my location where you can try out the Stearns & Foster Golden Elegance, because none of the showrooms have it. I've looked. I call the Stearns & Foster representatives at the actual Stearns & Foster headquarters. They couldn't tell me. Like, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, it sounds cool and all. $4,000, it's not bad for the materials you're getting. Can't try it out though. All the other brands, you can go somewhere and try it out. Why not this one? Beyond me. Which brings us to the subject in which I bought this mattress for. Why are these mattresses so expensive if they're not up to spec with the price you're paying? It's because you're paying for the name. These names are so well known for certain reasons that they genuinely think they can get away with marking up the price to justify something. You look at it and it's like, ooh, Cluft, the Queen of England bought ours. Ooh, look at how good we are. Our matches are so expensive, they must be good. Price, just because it costs a lot doesn't mean it's great. I mean, sure, at that price you're going to be getting an awesome mattress, but it's not a good, price to performance kind of ratio here. It's not fair. Which is why $6,000 to $10,000 is going to get you the good range, because of this name you're paying for is what you're going to have to do to get the materials that make a mattress good and last long and feel good. That's the problem. It's not because it's worth that much, it's because that's how much it sells for, because of the name. And that's what sucks about Sealy, Serta, Simmons, Stearns & Foster, Select Comfort, Tempur-Pedic, Cluft, Heirloom, Hastings, all these brands. You're overpaying, which is really unfortunate. Even the lower end ones, ooh, I can get a queen size mattress for $200. It's a piece of junk. It'll get you by for a little bit, but it won't be very comfortable. Those are one of those, ooh, I've got to have a guest bed somewhere that'll never be used situations. Those are okay. If you're looking for an everyday, you're going to use mattress for the next 10 years, you got to invest, because, a third of your life is spent sleeping. So, let's look at, finally, my mattress. It was made by a independently family-owned mattress store that makes their own mattresses and is not too well known because they're a local store and they're not nationwide. They're not this big brand name. And that's a good thing, because you're not paying for the name now. You're getting factory direct prices. And here's some of the best things about Quality Sleep. First off, the store where you buy the mattresses is the same building where they make the mattresses. You can watch them make the mattress through this giant window. They've got nothing to hide. They've personally let me back into their factory area, see all the materials firsthand, mess with them, and choose the ones I wanted. Because they make the mattresses, they can modify it any way you want it, which is awesome. And the next best part is, if you go there during regular business hours, not on the weekends, there's a guy. This is the guy that owns the place. His name is Tim Masters. Awesome dude, very chill. You can talk to him. And he's a down-to-earth kind of guy. He not only owns the place, but he also makes the mattresses. So for once in your life, you can talk to the person who makes the product you're going to use for the next 10 years. Where else can you really do that besides other independent mattress stores? You go and I've walked into plenty of stores that sell all these big name brands, and they don't know a damn thing about what they're trying to sell me. They've even admitted it. It's so annoying. I walked into a place that sells Sealy mattresses, and they look over here. Oh, look at our mattress coils. They're individually pocketed. Look at compared to Stearns & Foster, which is this old style springs. And I had to stop them. First off, Stearns & Foster doesn't use those springs anymore. They use the IntelliCoil, which is a coil-in-coil system. Blah blah blah. Wow. Way to go bashing a different company without actually knowing what the hell they use. Good on you. And I hate that. The great thing about Quality Sleep is Tim really knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for a long time. And although he wasn't the original owner of the store's been around for, I think, over 30 years now. They're doing good. I mean, some days it's crazy. They got a large number of orders. But you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to a small company like this. Is sometimes they get a large volume of orders, and sometimes you can't get service right away. They're relatively understaffed. But it comes down to one simple thing that I say so often when it comes to family-owned versus giant corporations and business and whatnot. If you want things done right, you gotta wait. If you want things done quickly, you don't get what you really want. It's the difference between going to McDonald's and going to a five-star restaurant. Yeah, McDonald's is quick, and you get a burger. It's not that great. You go to a five-star restaurant, yeah, you get an awesome burger, but you have to wait a long time. For that analogy, take the price situation out, because that's not what I'm talking about here. Okay, so yeah, it takes a little longer to get your service for your mattress. Whoop-de-doo. The good thing is, you're getting some pretty awesome materials, pretty awesome build quality, pretty awesome service when you do get it, at a really damn good price. And that's what I'm about to go over right now. Is I'm going to go over layer by layer, all of them, and then tell you what I paid for it. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I'm going to go from top to bottom and tell you exactly what materials are in what position. So on the top here, we're starting with a bamboo quilted cover. And under that, we have got some wool. Under that, we've got 5/8 inch polyfoam rated at 19 ILD. In the center here, we've got 3 inches of natural talloway latex rated at 40 ILD. Then under that, we go back to 5/8 inch polyfoam at 19 ILD, and then once again some wool, and then once again the bamboo quilted cover. This topper is removable, obviously, so you can rotate it once a month and flip it once a month. It helps with longevity. Now, for the actual mattress with the core support and whatnot, it's a little different. We have, once again, a bamboo quilted cover, but this one's slightly different than this one. Now, this one starts out as bamboo, and under that is wool. This time, under the wool, we have 1 inch of polyfoam at 19 ILD, and then 1 inch of talloway latex rated at 24 ILD, and then under that we've got the individually pocketed coils in a 15 gauge thickness. And you know, there's different types of coils you can get. I went with the individually pocketed because they tend to conform better because they move independently of each other for the most part. It's all encased in a polyfoam encasing. Every mattress has that. There's a small encasing around the coils and whatnot. Keeps it all in place. So that's the breakdown of the materials. It doesn't sound like much, but you know, this comes out to be about 14 to 15 inches tall, not including the box spring. Now, one thing I want to say about box springs is, fun fact, over 90% of so-called box springs aren't actually box springs anymore. Actually, what they are is just simply a wood foundation to make sure that this has something solid to sit on, so, you know, the mattress don't warp and whatnot. It's, you know, conforming properly. It's a good straight line. Back in the day, they used to make these out of actual springs, which is why it was called a box spring. Really firm springs, so that it gave a little bit more conforming properties, but they just don't do that anymore. Quality Sleep has made them for customers when they really demanded it, but it's very few and far between that you'll find them anymore. Quality Sleep makes some pretty damn sturdy box springs, though. If you go to the store, they'll show you their box springs and why they're different and why they're stronger. Normally, these things just don't go bad, you know. It's just metal and wood. You know, it's sturdy by nature. So let me go over why I chose these particular materials in the fashion that I did. Now, the bed started out as a standard Everlast model, which is one of their more luxurious sets, and I modified it to the way I wanted it. So, their bamboo is their more standard quilted cover, and normally it's in a zigzag pattern, which I'll show you on the core of the mattress. And as far as quilted covers go, bamboo is not the most luxurious material you can get. A lot of the higher end mattresses from different brands will use cashmere, or sometimes they'll use a silk cashmere blend, which silk and cashmere, the silk makes it feel nice and smooth, and cashmere is really breathable, and it helps regulate temperature by wicking away moisture. Cashmere and wool have a very unique property about them. The fibers are actually hollow when you get down to a really small scale and look at it closely, and this hollow fiber will take the moisture droplets inside of them, which is the wicking action, and then eventually it'll evaporate from there and release itself back out of the mattress, which is why it's breathable and helps make it a good water barrier. But bamboo, it doesn't. I don't believe it has that wicking feature, but it is, very breathable. But under the bamboo, we have the wool, which does this wicking thing that I told you about. Another reason why we have the wool is because it is naturally flame retardant. Mattresses sold in the United States are required by law to have a certain level of flame retardancy for safety reasons. So you have to use certain materials near the top in order to make this legal. So wool is one of the more expensive options, but I chose it because it's just all-around better material than the standard options. Under the wool, we have the 5/8 inch of polyfoam. Now, originally, when I had gotten this mattress, the topper was completely different. It started out with 1 inch of polyfoam. Well, I decided that I wanted a topper that was more firm. And personally, I freaking hate polyfoam. It's not a long-lasting material in my opinion, and it doesn't have anything special about it in terms of conforming and supporting your body. So we reduced the amount, and the reason it's even there is, once again, it's a flame barrier that's necessary to have, because you cannot have the latex sitting directly on the wool. It's not enough to qualify to make it legal. So that's why that 5/8 inch of a 19 ILD is right there. Now, latex, oh man, I freaking love this material. I've never had a latex mattress before, but once I tried it out, I fell in love with it. Originally, I had 24 ILD, which is very plush, but I did realize that within the first month, quite quickly, that I'm a pretty heavy-set guy. Although I like the idea of something plush and soft, it just wasn't supporting my back properly. So they had a step up, which is 36 ILD. I decided it's still not there yet. And, 32 ILD. And then the step up above that is something they don't normally use, which is 40 ILD. Now, when you swap out materials within the 60-day guarantee, generally it's done for free. You just bring the topper in, and they'll fix it to whatever you need. That's part of their guarantee. However, because I was using some materials that don't normally work with, for instance, this quilted cover is a different type than they normally use, so they had to get that from a place they don't normally get it. This latex right here is not one they normally use, so they had to get that from elsewhere that they don't normally get it. Now, like I said, normally it's done for free, but because I'm using these materials that I specifically requested, they had to charge me a little bit for it. Not a big deal. It was definitely worth it. I don't blame them. It's a huge cost to them. Every time you return a mattress or part to it, they can't just reuse it or resell it. By law, they have to just shred it up and throw it away. So it makes sense to, if they're going to use these relatively exotic to them materials, to them I said, not in general, because, I'm sure other people use it, they had to charge me a little bit, whoop-de-doo. Pay in cash, save some money. So that explains all of this, and the firmness of it supports my back very well. The thing about latex that I love is the way it conforms to you, and I'll explain that in a little bit. The latex is unique in the sense that, yeah, it's firm and supportive, but it's also like plush, or I don't want to say plush, but soft. So whether you lay on your back or your side, it still supports your back, but it doesn't hurt your shoulder if you lay on your side, which I think is incredible. This material is just awesome. So under here, this is what I was talking about. Notice how this is like a square pattern. This is what happens when they use the quilted cover. That's a 5/8 inch thick polyfoam under it. Under here, you'll see it's got a zigzag pattern, and this is what they normally use with the 1-inch polyfoam under it. This is the standard. This is what they use in all the nicer mattresses that they sell. And this is a bit softer because it's got more foam. So this is what I got when I decided that I wanted something plush when I was wrong. But here's the thing: I still like the fact that I have this right here, because the 1-inch polyfoam mixed with a 24 ILD latex under it makes it so that even if you don't have this topper, it's still quite bearable to sleep on just the core. Just the core mattress here. So, if for whatever reason I didn't have this topper, this is still soft, plush, and conforming enough to use by itself. So I think that was a great choice. Another choice that I had is normally there's a 14 gauge coil inside of the Everlast model. I told them to use the 15 gauge coil, and just to clarify, the higher the gauge, number-wise, the thinner the material. It's just how it is for whatever reason. So in the end, that makes the coils a little bit softer, and that's another thing that I like. Originally my intent was to make it really plush and soft, and I decided I didn't like that. But in the end, what I got is a mattress core, like the actual part right here, that's soft enough to use it by itself, and a topper that makes it firm enough to make it just right. So realistically, I got everything I wanted. Yeah, it doesn't have horsehair, but, it's not necessarily something I needed. Now, they are debating whether or not they want to start using horsehair in the mattresses, because here's the thing about Quality Sleep, is they have to buy all these materials by the truckload. So horsehair is extremely expensive. So they're still debating on it right now. But let's go up and talk a little bit more about Quality Sleep. So what's it like to sleep on a Quality Sleep mattress? Well, here's my experience. When I had first gotten the mattress, I had been using a 24 ILD topper, which, for the average person would probably be alright. But I'm a heavy-set guy. I'm like 280 to 290 pounds, somewhere around there, so I'm not skinny by any means. So when I tried it out at the store, I thought, oh, this is nice and plush. But I realized, you can't tell what something's going to be like until you've tried it out for at least a night, more so a week, for your body to adjust. And after about 2 weeks, I realized, my back is just not getting enough support near the base of my spine. So I was pretty comfortable everywhere else, but the center of my body was sinking in, and it was hurting my back a bit. That was my fault. I chose to go with that. So I decided, I'm going to get this modified. I need something different. So I called Quality Sleep, and I talked to Tim, and we agreed that I would come back in and bring my topper in and have it modified. Now, I went back a few times, at least 3 or 4 times, because we sat and we talked about different materials, and you had to bring in other materials for me to try out, and then eventually I brought it in to get it modified. A lot of the times, it's a small company. He was just too busy with too many orders to get everything done right away. I understand that. I get it. It's, what do you expect, So, eventually, about, I want to say 2-3 weeks later, which sounds like a long time, and it kind of was, but, it's the reality of the situation, whatever. I got my topper modified over to the 40 ILD latex, and now it's awesome. When I had first gotten it, I was thinking to myself, man, I paid a decent bit of money for this mattress, and now it's like, But then I got it modified and I'm like, oh right, this is exactly what I wanted. Now, before I was talking about memory foam and why I hate it, and I never got into the details. Well, memory foam and latex are like polar opposites in my opinion. Memory foam is really weird because when you lay in it, it's essentially like quicksand. You kind of sink into it and your body conforms to the bed because the bed is genuinely changing shape so that everything, fits like a glove, I guess you could say. But you get this issue where you try to move and it takes forever to reshape. So, even though they've got this quick reshaping memory foam now, I just don't like it. It's just not fast enough, it's not good enough. You sink into it and it feels like you have no control. But with the latex, it's the exact opposite. Instead of something, like quicksand and it molds, latex is boingy and it's responsive. Some people say it's a little too responsive. And instead of you conforming to the bed conforms to you in the sense that now you're laying there and the latex, you go in just a little bit and the latex boing, like pops up. It's like constantly pushing up to fill in the gaps, essentially. So it's the exact opposite of memory foam, if you ask me. And it's a wonderful thing. Because of this, the bed is super responsive. No matter what position you lay in, the bed's always constantly pushing up on you. And that's why it's so boingy. Now, this could be a problem for couples because you lay on the bed and you move around. Because it's boingy, the rest of the bed responds to this movement. So you could disturb your partner if you do this, or if you use this particular material. Whereas memory foam, it's kind of confined to the space where you personally are laying. But realistically, I've had memory foam die out on me so quickly. And I've had polyfoam succumb to depression so fast. I haven't had a long-term experience with latex, but from what I've researched, it seems to be a good, long-lasting material. That's partly one of the reasons why I decided I would try it at first. I didn't realize it'd be so springy and boingy, but I've come to realize I freaking love it. It's just so comfortable. And, it's unlike any material out there, honestly. So, laying on this for a while now with the new modification I've been using for a few weeks, probably like 3 weeks, maybe a month or so, I really have no complaints. It's one of those things where I can lay on my back flat and everything conforms nicely. Feels great. Now normally, you get a firm mattress. This is firm. You lay on your back, and it's the only position you lay in, because if you lay on your side, it's too firm, and it starts to hurt your shoulder. Well, this is where latex comes in. The latex is supportive, but still cushiony. See, I can lay on my back, and my back is supported well. Feels great. Or, I could come onto my side, and it conforms well to my hip and my sides right here. And my shoulders go in nicely too. They push down into it because it's still cushiony, but it's still supportive. It's one of those things, it's just hard to explain. You really need to try it. So no matter what position you're laying in, whether it's on your back, on your side, I've even tried on my stomach, but I'm not really a stomach sleeper. Partly because I generally wear a CPAP mask, so laying on my stomach is a little next to impossible. So the wonders of latex are never ending. And beds are one of those things where they're so unique and they're tailor-made to the way you want it. You really can't review it properly because every one of them is individual, and this one's truly unique because it's made to the way I wanted it. So the review is not specifically about the bed. It's about the company, the quality of the materials they use, and the fact that no matter what, they can make the bed over until you like it, until the way it's just right. So, honestly, this bed has been some of the best night's sleep I've ever had. So you might be wondering what exactly I paid for all these materials and the labor and all that jazz from Quality Sleep. Well, I've got the invoice right here. With the topper, the core set, and the box spring, after tax, after modification, cost me $2,037. So, realistically, that's not bad for all that I got. One thing that I want to say is if you pay in cash, you get a 3% discount, which makes sense because, you know, when you pay by credit card, the merchant that's selling you something has to pay 3% to the company, so they have to tack on 3% more to compensate for said 3%. So you pay in cash, a little bit better. Now they also have a section of their store called My Green Mattress where they sell all natural mattresses. For instance, like the 100% natural Tallow latex mattress. If you mention that you were referred by the Mattress Underground, which is where I was referred to, or referred by, you get 3% off for that. They don't apply this discount to standard mattresses. However, they were really nice to me and they did that. They're no longer doing it. Still, I want to thank Tim for allowing that personally. That was really cool of you. So long story short, I love the mattress. I think they did a really good job making it, and I think the price that I paid for it was very reasonable. So if you're shopping around for a mattress, try and find the little places that not too many people know about. The places that are independently owned, not these mega corporations spitting out mattresses faster than you can count. Because in the end, if you do that, you'll end up getting a good quality mattress for a price that you can't compete with from the big name brands. So anyway, thanks for watching the review, guys. Hope you learned something. Hope it was helpful. Sweet dreams.